Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Conversations with the Dreamers. I'm your host, Petronella Mnenja. And as always, I am so excited to be the one who platforms these stories of these phenomenal men and women who are doing the most, who are moving things in their personal lives, in the community, and in the world. What we hope for on this platform is to show you the journey, because the journey is the story. We know that when people have become successful, when they have achieved all of their dreams, it becomes difficult to identify with them because it looks like they've done so much. So what we do on this platform is we ask them the questions about where they came from, how they became who they become, so that we give you and I an opportunity to see ourselves in the stories of these phenomenal people. And today our guest is a phenomenal young man, the recently started student in America. He's going to tell us a lot more about that. He is a phenomenal young man who grew up in Gweru and had 16 A's for his O levels and had 25 points for his A levels, and he is now studying to be an engineer. He has done so much work in the community. I think I'm just going to give him a platform to tell us more about himself. The amazing Nigel. Hi, Nigel. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am good. Welcome to Conversations with the Dreamers. We are so excited to have you today.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here. Yes.
Oh, okay. I understand that you're speaking to us from the United States. How is that going for you? How is the settling, the adjusting, and being in a new country altogether?
So far, the settling has been good. Nah, the kindness and everything. But so far, I'm just trying to adjust to the weather. Because imagine the sun sets at 10 p.m. Today it's hot. Tomorrow it's raining. The day after that it's cold. Like it's a lot. It's a lot.
Do you have any restaurants where you can find Sadzanema Guru or Jakato Sarakzim?
Nah, that was Sarah. Maybe if you get to attain like a party with Zimbabweans, that's where you can eat sadza, and then you just have to take some for the road and then put it in a freezer and then microwave later. If you can do that.
Okay. Um, I'm sure if we give you a few weeks to a few months, you will know your way around and you will know all the corners where you can buy your maize meal and you can make your own salsa. So Nigel, everybody who is watching this are wondering, okay, how are they talking about the US? What's going on? Let's go back to where the story starts before we talk about the US. Who is Nigel and where was Nigel born?
Okay. So Nigel, basically, I'm like the eldest of three sons. Now I was born in 2005 in Guti Mashingo. That's where I was born. Yes.
Mm. Okay. And how was your childhood? Where did you spend your childhood?
Okay. So my childhood like was a bit hectic. When I was born, my mom she was like a student teacher in Goku in the Midlands. So that's where I spent like literally the first 2 years of my life. She was a teacher at a place called Gawa in Mashingo. And then my dad was working in Harare. So actually, I was my mom in Gokwe, my dad was in Harare. So I will see my dad like occasionally, maybe on the holidays. And then after that, that's when we started staying together in Harare. I think I was around 2 by the time. And then I stayed in Harare till I was 4, moved from there. I went to Gweru, stayed in Gweru for a couple of years, moved from there, went to Blawayo, and then moved back to Harare. So it was a lot of moving.
Okay. And how did that, were you changing schools as well as you were moving along in these different places? How was the experience of changing schools?
Yeah, so I was changing schools a lot because in Harare, actually, I attended two schools. Then I went to Gweru, I attended one school for my primary school.
Mhm.
And then when I moved to Blawayo, at least I was attending a school in Kwekwe. I didn't change that. But when I went to Harare, I changed my school. I went to Pamushana Mashingo. So there's a lot of schools, a lot of moving there. And at the end of the day, I think it helped me a lot because I was
Mm.
able to interact with people from various backgrounds, especially the one for Pamushana. When I went for my A levels there, I was able to meet a lot of people. Some of the people helped me to apply for US colleges, especially my brother Abraham Love, who's now at UPenn. If I hadn't gone to Pamushana, I wouldn't have met him, and all of this wouldn't have happened.
That's good. I like that positive outlook, just looking at how things happened and being grateful for them. I'm like you. I think I learned at 5 or 6 different primary schools and it was quite an experience. So tell us a little bit more about your education in primary school. How Were you always the boy who liked to read? How were you like in school? Who did you want to become? What were your dreams in primary school?
So when I was in primary school, like
Mhm.
I was known for being notorious when I was in grade one and grade two. I was notorious very much, very much. So my dad actually made a promise to me. He said, if I could be position one in my class, he'll buy me a bicycle. And that's when everything changed for me. So the time that he told me that, I was like number three in my class. And then I cried that time because I really wanted the bicycle. The following time, I was position two. And then I told everyone in my class that the following time I was going to be number one. And then, by the grace of God, it happened. That's when everything changed for me. From that term, I was like number one for the following four terms. And then I was made like a junior prefect. I became vice head boy. I became head boy. And that's when everything changed for me. Because I'm like the type of person who loves having pressure or responsibility. If you give me that, I'm sure I will not disappoint you. So when they started giving me all these responsibilities, I started thinking that I have to stand out for myself and stand out for everyone else. And that's when the whole thing changed for me. I never planned all of this. I never planned any of this.
Okay,
Yes.
that's quite interesting. And how was your experience then transitioning from primary school to high school? How where did you go for your high school?
Okay. So like for my primary school, I attended like Whawha Prison Primary School. It's a peri-urban primary school in Gweru, about 12 kilometers from the central business district. So for that community, going to boarding school was some sort of a privilege. So my dad has always been like a huge fan of education because himself he did a diploma while he was a young man, and then he had to take himself through like university when he was almost in his late 20s, early 30s. So he knew that education was important for us. So while most of my peers, they were going to the local schools, my dad was like, I'm going to take you to boarding school. And then I want you to make me proud. Because my dad, he loves helping people when it comes to education. So you find out most of my aunts and some of his little brothers, he had to take them, all of them through school. So he was like, I'm going to take you to boarding school. I don't want you to attend a local school here. And then when I got there, it was very, very much different. Meeting all these guys from different areas, from like the nice places. And I was like, wow, how am I going to survive here? And then I just thought to myself, if I'm able to stand out in class, maybe these people, they'll start to respect me. So when I got there, I was working hard, working hard, putting in the hours. I wanted to prove myself. I wanted to make a name for myself at that new place. And then, good enough, the first term, I was number one. And then everyone was shocked. How can I was very short back then. And then they were like, how can this kid be like the best 4 months student here? First term number one, second term number one. It happened for all the terms that I was in the school. Yes. So I had to make my name, a name for myself. I was working hard, working very hard from Form 1 up to Form 4. I was at Shungu High School, which is like about 20 kilometers away from Quaker Central Business District.
Mm. Okay,
Yes.
I think there's a powerful lesson somewhere in there for parents. It's like the power of believing in your children and investing in them. Your dad made sure that you got the best education that you could, and I can identify with that because my parents absolutely did the best that they could to give me an education. And for parents watching us, this is your call to invest in your children's dreams. And let's talk a little bit more, Nigel, about that experience of getting to boarding school and meeting people from different backgrounds. You said you were raised, you had done your primary school in Whawha, which is a
Yes.
peri-urban area, and then you're now at a boarding school where you're meeting people from different affluent backgrounds and all of that. What sort of advice would you have for somebody who is probably getting to a boarding school the first time and they're probably battling imposter syndrome or low self-esteem or struggling with fitting in? What would you say to a young person who comes to you and says to you, I am struggling with fitting in? I feel like I don't belong, or I feel like I don't have the other things that people have. How do I handle that? What would you say to that person?
So my advice for that person would be like to embrace who they are. Like there's this a lecture that I once attended where people were talking about like the issue of embracing where you come from. So one of the advantages of coming, especially from a peri-urban environment, is that it sort of like drives you to work hard because you are somewhere in between. You're not privileged enough. You have enough resources. So you have to utilize what you have at the same time remembering where you come from. That is to drive you. And you have to make sure that you make a name for yourself. Doesn't matter what the next person is thinking about you, because in the next 3-4 years, they won't even remember you. So just do what you have to do. Just stand out for yourself. It doesn't matter what the next person is thinking about you. Just do you. Just do you. Success is personal for me. It's personal. So I'm not going to let the next person change my mind on what I want to do. Yes.
Nigel, that's phenomenal. Thank you. You heard it from Nigel, guys. Just do you and don't focus on anybody else. Success is personal. It's your story. Embrace it and write it the best way you can. Thank you for that, Nigel. And you had 16 A's for all levels. I think that baffles me. I think I wrote 9 or 8 subjects. It's been so long, I don't remember. I'm an old person now. But I think I wrote something like 8, 9 subjects, and you had 16 A's. Nigel, tell me what was going on? You know, what was the goal? What was the plan? How did we get 16 A's?
Okay, so the 16 A's thing, like when I started my O level, so my Form 1, it was in 2018. And then in 2019, I came across this article, which was titled like Nyanga's Whiskey. And then they were celebrating this guy from Marit Nyanga. He had like 16 A's. So I took the article and then I put it under my pillow. I was like, I'm going to try this. So when I got to Form 3, I actually told some of my senior students, like, like, you know, those mission brothers. I told them, guys, I'm just going to try to do 15 subjects. And everyone was laughing at me, bro. It's not necessary. You only need something like 10, 11 subjects to get you into A-level combination. So I started doing those 15 subjects for like the first term of Form 3. When I was in Form 3, we had like the COVID-19 lockdown. So my mom was like, no, you're not going to be playing around. My mom is a teacher because she has like a background in humanities. She knows Shona, English, geography, history, all those subjects. And she was like, you're not going to be playing around. So for the 7 months of the lockdown, the first 3 months, I was playing, doing everything. And then the final 4 months, she was like, we're going to be serious. So she found me a teacher who took me for most of the sciences. And then she was taking me for the humanities. And then by the end of the lockdown, I done like almost like 75% of the work for what? Of O level. So that when we went back to school, most of the stuff I done it. Most of the stuff I done it in more subjects. So the advice that I would give to people is like, it's better to work hard now and then relax later. Like make hay while the sun still shines, something like that. You have to work now, work hard now, and then like take it a little bit lower for the following year. Like when you're in O level, it's better for you to work in Form 3 than for you to work hard in Form 4. And that's what I did. Yes, that's what I did.
Nigel, yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around 16 A's here, but okay, I think it goes back again to what we talked about earlier to the parents watching us, that it is absolutely important that you invest in the education and the future of your kids, because we can see clearly with you that your mom and your dad have always been a part of your journey. And if someone says that, Nigel, I don't even want 16, go 5 my A, or go kind of 6 my A, someone comes to you and says, how would you advise someone in developing a study guide? What sort of study tips do you have? I know you talked about studying earlier, so studying a year before, so studying earlier for your O levels, focusing more in Form 3, but maybe someone doesn't have access to the resources to do that, or maybe they don't have time, or don't have responsibilities. What tips do you have around developing a study guide?
So for studying, I think the best thing that a person can do is identify like what kind of person they are. There's some people who work good in the morning, and there's some people who work good in the evening. For me, I'm a night person. You never see me reading like during the day. You see me in the class from around 11 p.m. That's when you see me in class. to around 3 a.m. That's when I'm in class. So you have to identify a time that works for you. If you have chores during the day, make sure you do them during the day, and then you study during the evening. And the other thing that most people don't do, like when I was in O level, someone did their whole O level without even having to go through the syllabus. They didn't even know that there's something called the syllabus. How can you do that? You're just learning in class. You don't know anything called the syllabus. So you should have your syllabus. If possible, you can have like a hard copy. When you start your O level in Form 3, you just print your syllabuses, your syllabi, and then you just start ticking everything that you've done. Start ticking everything that you've done. When the next time that you want to study, you can just go through the syllabus again, and then you tick it for the second time. Just make sure that by the time you write, you should have done the whole syllabus maybe 5 times, and then you know everything that's in there. Because I remember when I was preparing for my chemistry paper 2 in O level, I just took the syllabus. Like we left with like about 1 hour to go into the examination. I just started reading the syllabus, and then I came across this information about water purification. And fortunate enough, in the syllabus, it was mentioned like the stages of water purification were there. And then when I got in the examination, they asked me like, what are the 2 steps necessary for water purification, and then can you explain them? If I hadn't gone through the syllabus, I would have lost those 6 marks. But just because I went through the syllabus, I got those 6 marks. So the syllabus, you should have it, and then know what time is best for you to read. Is it during the day or is it during the night? You have to find like a balance for yourself.
Thanks, Nigel. I think that helped somebody. I'm sure a lot of people don't even know their syllabuses, because I think I don't know if they're still a thing, but I know that during my time, there was something called a green book. And I think people were more obsessed with green books. No one really talked about having a syllabus, because we just assumed that whatever we were taught in class by the teacher, that was the syllabus. So that's a good shout. Thank you for that. You heard it from Nigel, guys. Go and find the syllabuses of the subjects that you were studying. So now let's talk about A level. How did you decide the subjects you wanted to study for A level, and where did you do your A level?
So I did my A level at Pamushana High School in Bikita, Masvingo. It's about 80 kilometers from Masvingo Central Business District. So for my A level combination, it was either going to be MBC or MPC. So like when I was in high school, I had made up my mind. I wanted to be a civil engineer. And then my dad was like, nah, okay, we'll consider medicine as well. You know, every parent wants the child to be a doctor. So I was like, oh, the best thing for me is to do MPC, because with MPC, I can get into engineering, I can get into medicine, I can get into computer science, I can get into anything. So I said to myself, okay, let me do the MPC since it opens many doors for me. And then I decided to add computer science and accounting. That was the initial plan. Maths, physics, chemistry, computer science, and accounting. Yeah. So when I got to Pamushana High School, I figured out that they offered statistics at the school. So I decided to drop accounting, and then I took statistics. So with maths, physics, chemistry, computer science, and statistics, you're learning most of the basics that you need for college, like computer science, like programming, then you're doing statistics. Obviously, everyone is going to do statistics in college. So I said, like, I'm just setting up a foundation for myself. So I decided to do these 5 subjects.
Okay, and you had 25 points. You guys, this guy is just breaking records. Who has 16 A's for his O levels and 25 points at his A levels? Tell us through that process, the study process. How were you studying for your A level? With some people doing 3 subjects and you were doing 5. How were you managing that and balancing it?
So for A level, I didn't change the strategy, the same one that I used for O level. When I got to A level, I was doing lessons during the holidays for O level, because I was going to, like, there's some good teachers in Mavuku, in Harare. So that's where I was going. Like, I was traveling there every day in the morning, coming back in the afternoon. So I was doing maths, physics, chemistry, and statistics there. I was doing almost all of the basics for those subjects. Every day I was going there during the holidays. So it's all about working hard earlier. While everyone is having fun, you start working hard. So by the time that we're in A level, by the time we're in upper 6, I done most of these things. And then I realized that I had like a poor background when it came to practicals. So my dad enrolled me into there's a school in Harare called Hillbright Science College. That's where I went for the first holiday of upper six. So I did my practicals there. So that by the end of the first holiday of upper six, I done most of the stuff. I done the practicals, I done the theory. So most of the stuff I was done. And then I was still reading during the night. during the night, because the timetable at Pamushana was actually nice because we're ending our lessons at 3 in the afternoon. So some of the times when we're done at 3, I would sleep from 3 to 5, then go home for supper, then come back for study. We have a study from 6 to 8, and then we had another study from 8 to 10. At that one, I couldn't do it. So maybe I would start from 8 to 9, and then get in the back of the class and sleep from 9 to 10, and then go back to the hostels, have something to eat, come back at 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, studying, and then I'll go back. And then during the day, I'm just doing maybe some question papers, discussing with friends. Discussing with friends, it actually helps because when I was in O level, I had like a study partner. He was doing 16 subjects as well. So we'd wake up around 11 in the evening, we'd go and study. We're doing the same subjects. He got 15 A's in 1B and I got 16 A's. So it's all about identifying someone who wants to achieve the same thing as you, someone who has the same work rate, such that they can actually push you and then you can push them. Because there's some days when you're not feeling to work hard and then they motivate you. And then the other day, it's actually like the opposite. So we're working hard. We had the same target. Though he ended up getting a B in chemistry, but he had 15 A's and 1B, and then I had 16 A's. And then he actually moved to the UK, and then he passed his like A levels, like 25 points as well. So it's all about identifying someone who wants the same thing as you and then align with them.
Nigel is dropping truth bombs. Yeah, he's dropping tips. Thank you, Nigel. So now you have your 25 points. I'm assuming that universities and scholarships are lining up for you. You're receiving offers from everywhere. How was that process then? You've finished your university. Did you know what you wanted to do? That's the first question. And how was the application process? Were offers coming in? How was that like?
Okay. So when I finished my A-level examinations and when the results came out, you know, when you pass, like you're like, I'll just like sit, like I'll just like the opportunities will come by themselves. You'll be like, I have 25, 20, like what for O level, I had 16 A's, right? I didn't take any form of action. I was expecting that someone is going to approach me and then say, you have 16 A's, so here's the scholarship. But that didn't happen. I didn't get a scholarship for A level. So when I wrote my A levels, I was trying to find information. I was approaching people in Canada, everywhere, but most of them, they couldn't even help me. Like they were like, I just wait, you're rushing, results aren't out yet. I was confident that I'm going to get like 25 points. So I was finding information, visiting people, asking them, but they couldn't really help me. So that's when I decided to attend this organization. So it was a convention, Global Study Fair. I actually saw it on a poster while I was going to town. Then I told my dad, I want to attend this event. And then there's a friend of mine, he also got 25 points. And then I said, let's go and attend this event. And then we went there. There were multiple schools there, schools from the UK, schools from Scotland, schools from the US, schools from Dubai, schools from everywhere, schools from Mauritius. And then we applied to a school in Dubai. They gave us like, I think it was 75% scholarship. But the outstanding figure was too much for us. The balance, it was too much for us. And then we got scholarships in Mauritius for software engineering. So those were like the first opportunity that I got. And then after that, I was saying, if we can get this thing like from one fair that we attended, what if we get more serious? I'm sure there are more opportunities out there. So I started exploring. And then I came across this guy from Stanford. He was attending Stanford. And then he introduced me to this organization called New Seasons Youth Program. So I applied to that. And then I was like, let me just apply. I didn't know that something good would come out of it. And then after applying, that's when I met Mrs. Gono of InfoHub. And then she told me, your results are good. Do you want to prepare for the SAT? And then it was around July. And then she said, okay, we're going to pay for the SATs and then you can write. And then I prepared for the SATs in like 2 months. and then I sat for the SAT, and then I passed, and then I submitted those SATs to the organization that had applied before new seasons, and then I got in. And that was like the breakthrough. It was the first part of the breakthrough, like the SATs and then getting admitted. So when you get admitted, they give you colleges to apply to. Then that's when I started applying. Applied to the number of schools that I applied in the US is close to around 20 there, around 20 there. And then I got into like 7 of them. Yes.
Wow. Nigel, I think this is very, very, very important that you shared that, because I think there is an expectation that opportunities will just come. So I think if someone is listening to you and watching you and hearing your story that you had 25 points, but you still had to be intentional and put in the effort to apply, it shows that you really have to put in the work to go after your dreams. Kana mnane 25 points, akatomboita face rejections and sort of hurdles along the way. It means that the opportunities are there for everybody if you're just willing to go out there and find them. So thank you for sharing that, Nigel. I'm curious, did you try applying to any local universities at all, or you were just set on leaving the country?
So I applied to local universities. My mom was like, you have to apply. Initially, my mom didn't know the plans that I had. Like I told you before that I want to start abroad. I want to start abroad. She was like, it's too expensive for us. How can you do that? And then I was like, I'm going to find a way. So I applied to NAST for, I applied civil engineering, and then I got in. Then I applied UZ, and then I got into biomedical sciences. So I, I I almost went to use it, but a week before, like when you're supposed to pay the $100, that's when I told my mom, I don't want to go. I want to take a gap. I want to take a gap year. And then she asked me, do you have a plan? And then I told her this and this and this and that. And then surprisingly, those are the days that I met Mrs. Gono. And then she sort of gave me the confidence. And then that's when I decided to take the gap year. I had my plan. I'm going to do this and this and this. And then my mom, she said yes. And then she had to convince my dad. And then my dad was like, okay, you can take a gap year, but you have to make sure that you're going to be working hard. And then if it doesn't work out, you're just going to send you to the local universities. That's what he said.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Thank you for sharing that, Nigel. Let's talk a little bit more about the application process. Because I think it's almost every student, that watches this podcast, that follows me. They follow me because of my journey, having gone to Oxford and all that. So they're quite interested in understanding scholarships. And if you were to give somebody tips on how to land a scholarship in the US, what would you tell them?
So landing a scholarship here, yeah, it seems like it's something that is not doable. But the thing is, like, you have to get your things in order early. Like the moment that you're in Form 3, you start doing like your extracurricular activities, be it quiz, public speaking, chess, and everything. Try to get awards in those areas that you're doing. Because these days, most people are like, I just want to get my straight A's and then just go. Him, they want your straight A's and then they want your extracurricular activities. Because, okay, I'm going to be explaining like the two different types of schools that you can attend here. Yeah, so I'm going to be explaining why extracurricular activities are what are important. So get your extracurricular activities in order and then get your grades in order. Yes. So when you want to apply here, they are what they call, I'm just going to call them PWIs, like predominantly white institutions. And then they are what we call HBCUs, which are historically black colleges and universities. Okay. So when you apply to PWIs, the PWIs are your Ivies, like Harvard and stuff like that. Because everyone wants to apply to Ivies. Everyone wants to apply to Ivies. So when you apply to Ivies, you use this application which is called Common App. That's where you have almost all of your universities. I remember the only university that wasn't on Common App was MIT. MIT, they have a separate application. But for all these other universities, Stanford, Yale, Brown, Connecticut, you can apply through what? You can apply through Common App. So when you go to Common App, you just choose the schools that you want to apply to, and then there are the essays that you're supposed to fill out. So you have to fill out the essays. You have to fill out your grades, your extracurricular activities. You have to tell them, I was the president of this and this and this and this. I was doing this and this and this and that. You have to upload your counselor. There's someone who's called the counselor, which is like your school rep, your teacher, who's going to be uploading your recommendation letters, who's going to be uploading your transcripts, right? So you have to fill the essays, you have to do everything there. Your PWIs, they want like good English. You have to write good essays. So the moment that you're in Form 3, Form 4, try developing your writing skills. And even when you're in A level, because most people in sciences, they're like, I'm now in A level sciences. Why should I be reading books? Why should I be reading articles? Why should I be reading magazines? And that's where most people get it wrong. Your English is going to be required at some point. So continue improving your writing skills. If possible, in schools, people should have like writing clubs. Because imagine here the school, we have something called an ink spot, where we actually go and then we're taught how to write essays. Even though I'm in engineering, I'm still doing writing. So that means writing is an essential skill. So people should continue improving on that. And then you're common up, you do your essays, you fill out your grades, you fill out your extracurricular activities, and then don't worry about application fee. People qualify for what they call application fee waivers. Application fee waivers. You can apply for free. You can apply to as many schools as you want. Yes. And then you apply for the school, right? But then you have to apply for the scholarship. It's a different thing. For the scholarship, they have this it's called what? I've forgotten the name of the platform, but that's where you be charged. It depends. You can apply for a waiver on this side also, because there's application for the school and there's application for the scholarship. You can also get a waiver here, but under this platform, that's where you send out your information about your financial status, how much your parents earn. You have to send your bank statements, you have to send your pay slips, you have to send your tax returns, or it's called CSS. It's called CSS profile. Yeah, for CSS profile, you have to send out your documents. So I remember it was like $15. Was it $15 per university? But some of the universities that I applied to, I actually emailed them and then I asked them, can I have an application fee waiver? And then they gave me the application fee waiver. So you see, most of these things, they are free. You just have to go out there and then ask them. So yeah, that's everything about PWIs. But the main thing here is essays. Essays. There's going to be a lot of essays. I remember Stanford. There are many essays. And then you have HBCUs. HBCU, that's where you have schools like Kentucky State, Alabama A&M. That's where you have Rice College. You have a lot of schools. So for HBCUs, they give people what we call merit-based scholarships. Merit-based scholarships, they're based strictly on your grades. So here they want your GPA. Your GPA is a grade point average. That's where you multiply all the number of A's that you have by 4, the number of B's that you have by 3, the number of C's that you have by 2, and then you divide by the number of subjects that you have. That is your GPA. So here, for most schools get you, if you have a 3.5 GPA, that's good, and above, that's good. But there's one tricky part, it's called the certificate evaluation. Certificate evaluation, you have to send your O-level and A-level certificates here in the States, like your physical documents, either via DHL or FedEx. Then you send them here. But it costs a lot. It costs a lot. Because for me, I had to apply like 4 or 5 schools. But the good thing was I had applied to a sponsor, New Citizens Youth Program. They said they're going to sponsor my process. So the whole thing cost about $600 there. But then they paid like almost all of the money. I only paid like $50. So you see. So you have to get your things in order. Know who's going to sponsor you. Are you going to sponsor yourself? But the good thing about HBCUs, the moment you submit your certificates for evaluation, they're sent straight from the evaluators. They send your certificates to your schools, right? And you send your SATs. You just send it's called a self-report. Like you send them a PDF via email. And then the moment they have your SAT, then they have your certificate evaluation. If you fit the criteria, they're automatically going to give you the scholarship. There's no essay drama. Maybe you might write one essay on why you think you deserve the scholarship. That's all. So a person has to decide what they want. PWIs is relatively cheaper but it will cost you when it comes to writing. HBCU, there's a little of writing, but then it's going to cost you money. So you have to decide which side you want, or you can do both. I did both.
Nigel, thank you so much. That was very detailed, and I'm sure, like me, the people watching us have learned a lot. Thank you so much for that. You mentioned something like the New Seasons program. What is that? Who is eligible for that? How does someone join that or become a part of that if they want to?
So, like the New Seasons Youth Program is like a Christian-based organization. It's like the headquarters are here in the States. So they help like African kids and then people from the Caribbean. So basically it's Zimbabwe, Zambia, Rwanda, Nigeria, yeah, and Jamaica, places like that. Like I think there's like 6 countries or 7 countries. So basically you just have to apply, you have to fill out some essays, do some videos talking about yourself, and then they'll get back to you. Like you if you qualify, like I think it's your GPA, I think they take like, I don't remember, but it's around 3.0. But yeah, they have like minimum requirements that you need to apply, but they're going to be taking maybe, let's say, the best out of that. So you might qualify, you might have a 3.6 GPA, you might have a 3.5 GPA, but it depends with the year. If there are a lot of people with 4.0 GPAs and you have like a 3.6, a 3.6 GPA is good, but the fact that there are a lot of people with 4.0 GPAs, you might not make the cut. It depends. So if you have a slightly low GPA, you should sort of like make it up when it comes to their video that you have to submit, their essays. Then you also have to submit your certificate, like all the achievements that you made in high school, your certificates from prize giving days, your certificates from all the competitions that you attended, the medals. You have to submit all of that, and then they will have like a cumulative score out of 100. So if you have everything in order, you make it.
Nigel, thank you so much. I'm sure someone has learned a lot, and the theme that keeps coming up is preparation. So making sure that you're not only focusing on getting good grades, but you're also participating in community events and volunteering in sports and all of that. So you guys have heard it from Nigel. Make sure that it's not only about the grades, but you're also doing some things beyond the classroom. Thank you, Nigel, for that. Let's now talk about the flight to America. How has it been like? Now we've gone through all of that. Now you're in the US. How are you feeling? How is it going? What are your plans? What can we expect to see from Nigel?
Now, so at the moment, I'm just trying to sort of like know the people in my faculty, like because when you come here, you have like the chairperson in your department, and then you have your primary advisor, and then you have your major advisor. So when I got here, my plan was like I have to know each and every one of them personally. So I went to their offices, and I'm still planning on going back there. I want them to know me. Like I'm asking them, I'm doing this and this and this. Which classes should I take? And how best can I approach everything? How can I get like on-campus jobs which are aligned with my major? How should I position myself if I want to get an internship? Like getting to know the people in the faculty and then getting to know other fellow students. Yes, I think that's what I'm trying to do now.
Oh, Nigel, thank you so much. So what do you hope to do in the future when you graduate? What are your plans after all this?
Okay. So my plans, I just want to get like some experience here because I'm doing manufacturing, and then like the US, they're like I'm sure they're like in the top 5 of when it comes to manufacturing. So they have like they're quite advanced when it comes to manufacturing. So that's why I decided to do engineering and com science. So I want to find like the intersection of engineering and computer science, and then hopefully one day I want to come back home and start my own like industrial automation startup. Like a company that does like setting up machinery and automated systems for people in their industries. Because back home we don't have a lot of that. And then maybe do like foodstuffs, making cereals and everything, particularly for kids. Like, in Zimbabwe, we have all those cereals which are being made in other countries, and then we import them. We don't really know what our children are consuming, what our elderly are consuming. So that's what I want to do, come back and then get into manufacturing industry and everything like that.
Nigel, I wish you all the best, and I'm sure you can do it because life is a game of confidence and hard work. So if you really put in the work, which I know you absolutely do, and if you have the burden and the passion, I am certain you do it. And you guys, mark my words, I think this is the beginning of Nigel Maringwa's story. There is more to come in this young man's story, and I'm so excited to be have been a part of it and to have had this conversation with you and to watch you grow. I truly wish you all the best in that. As we are concluding, Nigel, do you have any reflections, lessons that you've learned from your journey? I know you've alluded and given us some tips and all that, but you have sort of lessons that you've learned. We're a community of dreamers. We platform people that we our audience are people that are going after their dreams, that are pursuing the impossible, that are doing everything they want to do with their lives. Do you have any sort of reflections and lessons from your journey that you want to leave with our audience today?
Okay. So I think like the biggest thing that I learned throughout this process is it's all a journey of faith. Yeah, you're going to be tested. You're going to be tested. You're going to be tested. Because imagine like when I took the gap year, like most of my peers, they're going to university. They're telling, oh, we're having fun in university. What are you doing? You're just sitting at home. Like you're just worried, like, oh, all of this workout. You prepare for your SATs, and then like fingers crossed, you're like I was doing it on my own. So I was like, oh, am I going to pass? The 2 weeks that I spent waiting for the results, yeah, I couldn't eat. I couldn't eat. And so like you have your things in order, like praying. You have to pray a lot. You have to pray a lot. It's a journey of faith. You have to pray. You have to pray. That one, yeah, you have to pray. And then it's mainly the faith thing. The faith thing. With faith, you can do everything. You can do everything. And then the other thing is like you need like a community to support you, especially your parents, because like the parents are supposed to be there throughout the whole day journey supporting you, because they shouldn't be like, we told you it won't work out, you're doing this, you're doing this. They're supposed to be there for you, supporting you where they can, and then actually helping you throughout the process. Yes.
Nigel, thank you so much. And I agree with you on faith. In my book, From Gokwe to Oxford, The Girl Who Dared to Dream, there is a chapter called The Gap Year. I was at home as well when everybody was going to university. That was a gruesome year because you feel like you're being left behind. You feel like you're not making the right decisions. You feel like everybody's going to outpace you and they're going to do so many things and you're missing out. And people are telling you about semester breaks and you don't even know what's going on.
Yes.
And ultimately, look at the story 10 years later. It's more than even I could have imagined. So you heard it from Nigel, guys. It's a journey of faith. And I think also another thing that we hear from Nigel's story is the role of parents. If there are parents watching us today, God has made you a custodian of your children's destinies. Please believe in them. Please support them. And hold their hands as they pursue their dreams. As we have learned from this young man's story, that your parents are important. And if you're a parent, invest in your child. Nigel, it's been lovely talking to you today. Do you have any final parting shots for us? Anything left to say?
So, the final words that I would definitely share would like people have to really like embrace what they want for themselves. There's going to be a lot of people going to be giving you advice, do this and do this and do that. Yes, you shouldn't be like closed off from advice. You should be open to advice and also criticism. So you should have like a clear goal that you have for yourself. Like from when I was in Form 3, I was sitting like, I want to go to the States. I don't know how am I going to do it, but I'm sure that I'm going to do it. So everything that I was doing was like sort of like aligning with the vision and the goal that I have for myself. So if you have something that you want to do, write it down somewhere, like a piece of paper, like not a piece of paper as such. Maybe it's a diary, something that you keep, and then you're always like referring back to it, so that whenever you're passing through something, be it a challenge, be it whatever, it has to remind you of the long-term goal that you have for yourself. Yes.
Nigel, thank you so much. You heard it from Nigel, guys. Have a plan for your life, because the thing is, if you don't have an identity, the world can give you one and it will stick.
Yes.
So know who you are, know where you're going, and believe in it. But also listen to advice and criticism where it's important. And on that note, thank you so much, Nigel, for coming today. And everybody else, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your continued support. It's an honor to see so many of you watching these episodes, commenting, sharing them. Please continue sharing, please continue liking, please subscribe and hit the notification button so that each time an episode goes live, you're the first to know. As always, thank you so much and see you next time.